Hello fellow foodies. Today I'm cooking the most amazing English roast dinner. I'm cooking a beautiful roast chicken with lots of fresh herbs and butter, roast potatoes, carrots, tender stem and of course a beautiful gravy. Okay, to start this off, we've got a lovely free range, good quality chicken here. I'm going to use some towel, some just paper towel, just to dab this off to get any excess moisture out. The next thing I like to do is just remove these wingtips. Quite a simple process. I've just got a small sharp knife. I'm just going to twist that back on itself and just cut through. I'll do the same on the other side. The next thing I'm going to do is just take off the end of the drumstick here. When the chicken cooks, the skin will just peel back a little bit and reveal the ends of the bone, which looks pretty good. I'm just going to use my sharp knife and just cut around and just twist it back on itself and remove. I've got some butter here and some herbs, sage, rosemary, parsley, and some garlic. I'm going to add a bit of salt and a bit of pepper and some olive oil. I'm going to mush this together a little bit just to get it into a really nice butter ball. Simply now I'm going to take the butter and the herbs and the seasoning and just massage this all over the chicken. Really good just to get a nice even coverage. So I'll go on the top, the bottom, inside the cavity, every nook and cranny I can to get all of that lovely flavour into the bird. There we go, ready for the oven. Chicken, I actually like to cook it in a large pan, like a large frying pan. So to kick this off, I've got some onion, which is thinly sliced. I've got this on a sort of medium-high heat. The bits of chicken, the kind of bones and stuff that I cut off, I've put at the bottom as well. We're going to put that chicken into the pan. I'm now going to put this into the oven. I'm going to start it off at about 220 degrees for about 20 minutes. Now I've got some nice potatoes here. These have been peeled and I'm going to cut them into some nice sized chunks. So for me, the perfect roast potato, you don't want it to be too big, you just want a nice kind of small size. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Next I can add some olive oil into the pan and a little bit of lard as well. I'm going to put this into the oven so it can start to heat up. I'm now going to put the potatoes on to boil. Just got some boiling hot water here from the kettle. Chuck those potatoes in, let them cook for about 10-12 minutes. You want the outside to get a little bit fluffy, so then when you put them into the oven, they can start to really crisp up. I'm also going to cook some carrots here as well. I've literally just peeled the carrots and chopped them into halves and then half again, so they're quite chunky. Now this chicken has had about 20 minutes or so on 220 degrees. Now is the time to add some wine. This wine is a white burgundy. I'm going to just pour this in. I won't pour it directly on the chicken, just around the outside. And now when this cooks, the chicken juices will come out and mix with the wine, and that's going to create the most phenomenal gravy. The potatoes have now been cooking long enough, so I'm going to take them out, put them into a sieve, or you can put them into a colander, and I'll just give them a little shake just to ruffle them up a little bit. You can actually let the potatoes steam for a little bit, there's no urgency to add them into the oil. But the oil now has been in the oven a good amount of time. You can see that it's starting to sizzle a little bit, which is absolutely perfect. Really important stage now is to use 2 spoons and just make sure those potatoes get a really nice coating of the oil, and then we can pop those back into the oven and they'll gently crisp up. You want to take your time with the potatoes. Important step though, get those potatoes really nice and covered so you get a nice coverage of the oil. Give them a little shake and then we can pop those back into the oven. Now I've got these carrots here, they've been parboiled for about 8 minutes or so. I've sprinkled them with some caraway seeds as well, and I'm going to add some butter. Now this chicken, it's had about an hour, 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. A lot of people overcook meats, and for me this has had a good amount of time cooking. You see it's looking lovely with the herbs. This needs to rest. Really, really important to let your meat rest. That will allow the juices and the flesh just to relax a little bit, and just to get the optimum taste out of the meat. You can literally just lift this out onto a plate, and then I'm going to wrap this in foil. I've just taken these potatoes out after about half an hour or so. I'm going to give them a little mix around, just so they can continue cooking. Now is the time for the gravy. An English roast really wouldn't be complete without a gravy. You can see this chicken is roasted in the pan, and we've got these beautiful juices, the onion. A lot of the work is already done for us. So now what it's about is putting that heat on a kind of medium-high heat, letting it gently cook away. I'm using the back of my spoon just to break up the onion a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of mustard into this gravy, and also a little bit of apple sauce for a bit of sweetness. I'm going to use the cooking water left over from the potatoes and carrots. The carrots would have left a really nice natural sweetness in that water, so it's important to use it in this lovely gravy. Gravy's been cooking for about 20 minutes or so. You can see it's thickened up really nicely. I've broken down those onions, and that will naturally thicken up the sauce. I can put this through a sieve and just sieve it through a little bit, and this will create the most amazing gravy. Potatoes have been cooking for about an hour or so. I'm going to finish this off with a bit of rosemary. I'm going to cook this for another 20 minutes, half an hour. With the carrots, I'm just going to flip them over a little bit. They're quite chunky. It's nice for them to have a little bit of bite, but I just want the carrots to have a nice amount of colour. So if you turn them a little bit with butter and the seasoning and caraway seeds, they're going to work really nicely. The other vegetable I'm going to serve with this English roast dinner is some lovely tender stem broccoli. I've just put a little bit of oil into the pan, and I'm going to add this tender stem to the pan, nice hot pan, and we'll just face that down. little bit of seasoning, a bit of salt, bit of pepper, and I'm also going to add a little bit of lemon zest just to give a little bit of freshness and that nice lemony zing. We'll let this tender stem cook away, let it get a little bit of colour. And just to finish this tender stem off, I'm going to use a little bit of the gravy which I used earlier, and I'll just add a really nice gloss. You can see here I've got the beautifully roasted herby chicken, I've got the lovely roast potatoes, I've got the roasted carrots and the lovely tender stem broccoli, and of course that beautiful magical gravy. This is a classical English roast dinner with all of the trimmings. I absolutely love this dish because it's so easy and simple to make, a real family favourite and absolutely delicious. To carve this bird up, I'm going to gently pull away the drumstick and the thigh. You know, this is cooled down a little bit so the bird isn't too hot, it's still a nice temperature. I'm going to pull it away, I'm going to cut in between that bone there, and I'm going to hold the drumstick and the thigh, and I'm just going to slice through just to separate the two. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Pull that drumstick and that thigh apart and then just break the two in half. Got these lovely chicken wings as well, so I'll literally just use my hand and just break those off. They come away very easily. And now with the chicken breast, nice sharp knife, stay nice and close, you know, as close as you can to the carcass, and then just gently carve through, and that will nicely remove all of that breast. This is quite a small bird, so you know, if it was a larger chicken I'd probably be doing slices on the breast, but because slightly small bird, I can just take that breast off in one and that will make a really lovely portion. We can now plate this up. Pop everything on the plate. And finally, a little bit of that gravy over the top. The lovely crispy roast potato, beautifully glazed charred carrots, and the lovely pan-fried tender stem. And of course that beautifully herby, buttery roast chicken.